Welcome to Lunch Without Lunch, or in person, Lunch with Lunch. Very excited to be here at SAIT's Odd Fellows building in person. To everyone online, it's great to see you as well. If you don't know me, I'm Amber Bowden. I'm a storyteller at Rainforest Alberta. Online, we have Bridget Legault, who's the community manager at Rainforest Alberta. I want to thank everyone for coming out in person and for joining us online. Before we start, I'd like to start with an introduction to the rainforest and the land acknowledgement. So in the spirit of reconciliation, we acknowledge that we live, work, and play on the traditional territories of the Blackfoot Confederacy, the Siksika, the Kainai, the Piikani, the Tsuut'ina, the Stoney Nakoda Nations, the Métis Nation, and all people who make their homes in the Treaty 7 region of Southern Alberta. For those of you in Edmonton online, we acknowledge the traditional lands of the Treaty 6 territory of the Cree, Dene, Blackfoot, Saulteaux, Nakota Sioux, as well as the Métis. And for anyone else that is coming from somewhere else in Alberta or elsewhere in the world, please feel free to share your own land acknowledgement in the chat. And if there's a different land acknowledgement you'd like to share, we'd love to hear it. So please get in contact with me. So what is the rainforest? Well, we have this beautiful explainer video to showcase what the rainforest is.
What does it take to realize an idea? Or for
Is she choppy or is it just me?
Rainforest Alberta, we know the answer is hundreds of trucks.
The audio is a bit choppy because it's playing through speakers and then echoing into ours versus being screen shared.
Yeah,
there's also a lot of echo in that room.
That can evolve organically, like a rainforest. At Rainforest Alberta, we believe a culture of trust is the fertile soil where ideas grow. Our budding innovation ecosystem is a network of relationships pulling each other up as they push forward in their own field. Trust breaks down barriers. An open, inclusive network increases collaborative innovation. Successful breakthroughs inspire new ideas. A cycle begins. Rainforest Alberta is a movement by trust by cultivating honesty and accountability. How? Our social contract holds us accountable to demonstrate trust across the province. We meet to have honest conversations around collaboration. This leads to more inclusive and build new ideas together. By raising the standard of trust, Alberta's ideas, talents, and resources can be evergreen. Visit rainforestav.ca to sign the social contract and start growing together.
So we use 6 pillars to guide our conversations and actions. Not all are weighted equally. Just like any ecosystem, the right balance is crucial. In the rainforest, culture is more heavily weighted, and that's the one that we focus on a lot at Rainforest. And each week we highlight social contract values. So these are 10 values that we live, work, and play by. And so this week is fairness. So I will be nice and treat everyone fairly. I will take advantage of no one. As you go about your day, as you go about lunch day, think about fairness and how you can implement that in your day-to-day. Before I get into introductions, I guess how Lunch Without Lunch works, if you haven't been, in person and virtual is a little differently. In person, we have a presenter and we'll do some community announcements, and then we'll get into some networking and meet people. Online is the same, but you'll go into virtual networking rooms. So without further ado, today we're joined by Jason. Jason is the president of Jobs Alberta, a Calgary-based recruiting company that specializes in matching top talent with tech companies. Prior to joining Jobs Alberta, Jason worked for one of Canada's largest financial institutions, leading cross-functional teams and providing strategic solutions across multiple business segments. Jason is a long-standing volunteer with Junior Achievements, past chair of Northwest College's Youth in Transition program, has been a regular contributor on Tech Edmonton's advisory panel, and is a steering committee member for Rainforest Alberta. We're very excited to have him here today to present. Please give a big round of applause to Jason, and please go to the stage.
Thanks, Amber. It's quite loud up here. No, you guys are sitting as far away as possible. Please. Yeah. I'll do this. No, thanks so much for coming today, and thank you to Rainforest for having me, for SAIT having such an awesome venue to host us in, and for Lisa on our team for helping all in the background making this happen. So we'll wait for the presentation to pop up, but I'd like to, I want this to be kind of interactive. I know that all of you are part of the ecosystem and probably have maybe some questions for me, but also probably a lot of insights and perspective that I'm very curious about. And Calgary and Alberta is on a bit of a tear lately with tech. We had another unicorn announced recently in financial. I think we're up to 5 or 6 now. There's a lot of positive momentum with tech in the province. We have a great ecosystem. We have a lot of great educational institutions and a lot of great people behind all of those good things. With this growth, I mean, there are a lot of challenges. And one of the challenges that we're going to talk about today is talent. How do you cope with talent in such a fast-paced sector? So I'm going to put a question out to you guys. How are you affected by this? How do you feel? There's a special prize for anybody who wants to speak first.
So one of the challenges I'm having is most hiring is done in a traditional model. People post a job online, they submit resumes, they gather resumes, they interview, they maybe a second or third interview. And I find that model is increasingly becoming outdated in the tech world where things are moving at pace. You know, offer a candidate an offer if they like them within 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever the number is. So I'm struggling between the traditional sort of hiring model and the evolution of what's happening. I don't know if you can comment on that at all.
Yeah, I think we're going to get into some of that today with the presentation. Obviously, within technology, I mean, especially the way the labor market is right now, candidates do have a fair amount of power in the process, which isn't a bad thing. You just have to adapt and understand that and really rely on the strengths of your company on why you're a place to work. And so we'll get into all that. But that's a great comment. Sorry, your name? Thanks, Trevor. The special prize we'll figure out.
I would probably.
Okay, so just to revisit one of my last comments, this was an article in today's Calgary Herald. Again, fantastic news. IBM bringing 250 jobs to City Calgary for its new innovation center. That's on the heels of a number of similar announcements through Ernst & Young, Emphasis, Infosys, RBC. And that's on top of an estimated 4,300 vacant technology jobs. This is just in Calgary. So you have to think, what Calgary is facing is not unique to Calgary, it's not unique to Edmonton, the province, to Canada, or the world right now. So if we look at the momentum that we have, and this was a survey done by AEC, but since 2018, there are 149%, or there's been 149% growth in the number of tech companies in Calgary. So thanks, Amber, for the great intro. We are a tech group, so our sole mission is to help tech employers find great talent. When we started this business, we were seeing early signs of, I'll call them concerning trends in the labor market. And especially for a city like Calgary, where the pace of growth was far exceeding the talent supply. And although the ecosystem is working hard to catch up by upscaling, changing industries, the educational institutions, there is absolutely a talent gap right now. And I think that that's reflected in part by the 40% vacant positions. So what we took a look at is how can we really benefit the ecosystem? How can we help companies grow? How can we help them advance their missions? And so we took a really hard look at where great tech talent existed in the world. And Mexico and Latin America was a place that we kind of, kept coming back to. So we established a recruiting operation in Mexico, sourcing tech talent from across Latin America. And I would like to qualify this very senior, experienced tech talent, and that really forms part of the gap right now. What's also great about that is that these experienced senior people come into, whether they're working remotely on a team or whether they are relocated into Calgary, Edmonton, Alberta, or Canada, they become really great mentors and coaches for the more junior people on the teams and actually help increase the velocity of that company's growth. But enough about my sales pitch, guys, but we are here to talk later. And there's a prize if you, no, I'm kidding. Okay, we know who this guy is. One of the greatest, if not the greatest basketball player of all time, Michael Jordan. During the pandemic, I was watching a lot of TV. Netflix had a really great documentary called The Last Dance, and it chronicled, I think it was the championship seasons of the Chicago Bulls, led largely by Michael Jordan. And you realize that he's an incredible basketball player, an incredible leader. The drive, the intensity that he plays with is incredible. But he started a team, and you have to ask yourself, if Michael didn't have a great team, would the Bulls have won 6 championships? Probably not. They didn't have a great coach. Would they have won 6 championships? Probably not. Phil Jackson was actually the coach of another championship winning team, Lakers. And so Phil is a highly regarded coach in the NBA and across sports, but I thought that this quote was telling about how important the strength of the team is each individual member. The strength of each member is the team. So let's talk about you guys and what you attract talent. This was kind of a follow-up on what Trevor had asked earlier. What do you do? How do you compete? Especially when you're, I'll call it a smaller tech company. You're not going to have a good branding, you're you're not going to have an awareness. You may not even have the excitement about the products or the application that the company's working on. So you really have to understand what your mission, your vision, your values are. And that comes down from leadership. And that can be very, very powerful. So many job seekers today are mission driven. I have to say, if you're here as part of the rainforest, you're obviously aware of mission and care about it. So first of all, thanks for being here for that reason, but reflect on that, on how powerful that can be as a marketing tool. And it's genuine, it's sincere, it has to be, otherwise it won't be effective. Learning new careers. So what do you do then? What opportunities, what does it look like at an organization or a company for growth, development, learning, mentorship? So if you're a really small company, that person not only maybe are they going to be a senior software developer or a tech lead, they're probably going to learn a little bit about marketing. They're probably going to learn a little bit about accounting, and they're going to be able to grow and develop as your company grows and develops. And being employee number 3 or employee number 4 is a very, very powerful thing. Compensation and benefits. This is another one where, again, if you're a very small company, you don't have a lot of financial resources. What other perks can you provide? Is it unlimited vacation? Is it alternating weeks off? Is it work from anywhere? You have a lot of agility in being competitive because you're not constrained by a large organization. A lot of what I'm talking about today is probably going to be catered towards a smaller startup. So if you have questions afterwards about other strategies for bigger companies, please happy to discuss those too. But I would like to just share a quote. So Jim Collins, this is the author who talks about having the right people on the bus and getting the wrong people off the bus. And I think this is telling about being so mission driven. The right people can often attract money, but money by itself can never attract the right people. Money is a commodity, talent is not. And people, if they buy into your mission, they won't need you for money. Right? it should be generally. Okay, so you figured out what your company is all about, what its strengths are. Awesome. So how do you actually get out there and connect with the candidate that you're looking for? Well, I think you first need to understand it's not just, okay, I need a developer to do X, Y, and Z. Here's our tech stack. You know, what soft skills do they have? What experience do they have? You know, is there going to be coaching and mentorship required? You know, industry experience, country experience. Maybe you know you're in fintech and you're very specialized down that you need a data scientist who was actually in finance before. I mean, so really understanding your ideal candidate and don't shy away from shooting for the moon. You can always draw back from that, but really build your perfect archetype of candidate and move on from there. The second piece, and this is where I see a lot of companies kind of falling down, is they're lazy with the job posting. I mean, the job posting is an advertisement for, you know, the job opportunity, but also your company. So invest some time and energy into not, we've done it too, but copying and pasting on other job postings. Like really be deliberate in what you're wanting to put out there to attract the right type of people. The third point is have a compelling digital presence. Like if you are posting your job and someone goes to your website, goes to your social channels, is what you're posting there, is that aligned, is that congruent with kind of who your company is and the type of person that you're wanting to attract? So if it's not, you're going to probably attract the wrong type of candidate.
Are you able to stand a little closer to the computer with the mic closer? Awesome, thank you.
Do you want me to come in?
Sure, that's okay.
Sure, I'll stop.
Thank you. People online are having trouble hearing your awesome presentation.
Okay, so you figured out what your company is all about. You figured out the ideal candidate, build a job description. So what's next? Okay, job boards. We're all familiar with this. We've all done it. You know, in addition to the major job boards that you know you're going to think of, so Indeed, Monster, LinkedIn. Alberta has a lot of your regional job boards, and I think it's important that you pay attention to these, and then you're posting on these job boards. Most of them are free. And what's great about these job boards is they'll periodically pick companies to highlight and promote. Technology Alberta is a really good example of that. Every month they feature different companies in their job agencies. But I think pay attention to the statistic, and we'll compare it to something on the next slide. But 36% of the workforce is actively looking for a new opportunity. It's pretty good. It's like a lot of people. But there's a really great opportunity out there that I don't think enough companies are aware of, have the time to do it, or understanding how to do it. So what recruiters do is active recruiting or being proactive with recruiting. And this statistic I think is very telling that 90% of the workforce is open to new opportunities. So there are people out there who are content in their jobs, but maybe not super pumped about it. So those are the people that you're able to access by what I'm going to talk about next. So GitHub has so this community was specifically 83 million users of GitHub. Those are people whose work is on GitHub. You're able to search them as a database for a certain type of developer they are, as an example. Stack Overflow is similar, LinkedIn is similar. So all of the search criteria is built into these websites to help you guys deliberately source talent. So rather than waiting on someone replying to your job posting, you can applies for your job. You need to go out and hunt for, again, your archetype candidate that you built earlier. Okay, here's another very important rainforest organizations like Rainforest, the ecosystem, educational institutions. These are incredible partners, incredible resources to help you guys connect with great talent, whether today, a month from now, or 3 years from now. So be sure to link up with, and this is a very, very abbreviated list. So there are dozens of great organizations, and some of them are more specific to certain things. So please just, make sure you're leveraging your connectivity to access these great organizations and others to help you build up your talent pool. And just general awareness that you exist and that you're going to be looking for people. Okay, so don't limit your geography. And there's a map of the world on this up here, but you don't necessarily have to think about it as the world, although you can. So many companies are, they look very narrowly at the talent pool, and they might only be looking at Calgary, but if you're a Calgary-based company, well, wouldn't it be easy to hire someone who's going to remote in looking for or Edmonton, or you could look to British Columbia or Saskatchewan. So, I think that companies, you have an ideal state, absolutely, but you need to figure out what you're prepared to compromise on. And once you understand what you're prepared to compromise on, then I think it's very, liberating that you can find great talent, whether they're 100 kilometers away or 1,000 kilometers away. So just be very, very open-minded to other geographies that may have the talent that you are looking for. 16, so the pandemic obviously really accelerated a lot of trends. A lot of the customers that we work with now are work from anywhere, and they don't even have physical offices. And there are no Shopify is a perfect example of a company like that. So Shopify is able to do it, and I think a lot of companies, if they would consider how much they really need to have people co-located all the time, would probably again feel more comfortable in being able to connect those people through virtual means and getting together for bursts, as it's called in the industry, where you're bringing people together and having more meaningful interactions. How about for recruiting process? So this is one where a lot of great candidates will fall off because the recruiting process isn't managed properly. Again, another show that I crushed during the pandemic was the Squid Game. You can see this, right? But 47% of declined offers are due to candidates accepting another opportunity. That can happen at any stage in the process. And there's work involved in this. I mean, you have to understand, again, what your own internal processes look like, who's doing what, and be sure that you are communicating and setting up those expectations early on with candidates, but being very communicative throughout the process. If there's a delay, let them know, right? And the more transparent and honest you are, often you get that back from the candidates, and especially if that's a cultural feature of your company, great, do that. Don't keep them in the dark, especially with the labor market the way it is right now in favor of talent. We very regularly see, candidates fall in, and we're doing everything we can to keep them engaged, to communicate, but even still, there's such demand out there for developers that they fall off the process. So set expectations, be communicative, and act quickly. Okay, just some tips and tools really of the trade. A lot of these are free, and these aren't the only names out there, but one of the applications that we use in recruiting is called an applicant tracking system. So that's represented by the wheel on the right. These things are next. So if you're scaling with hiring, something like this can be very, very valuable because it will save you a ton of time. You're able to, create your job postings, push the job postings out to all of the job board, or manage the applicants, having that feed into your HRIS system if you have one. So an applicant tracking system, if you're at the size that you can justify it, absolutely consider it. Some of these other standalone tools are really helpful, and these are just minor time savers that will, I would say, reduce frustrations. That you and your team can have. Calendly is an easy one for coordinating, scheduling with your candidates. Resume Free is a really cool Edmonton-based company that links in behavioral assessments. Again, when you're doing interview process, you want to be able to evaluate candidates from as many perspectives as possible, and so behavioral assessments can be a very, very useful tool. So check out Resume Free if you haven't already. HackerRank is another one. So within tech, obviously, coding challenges and technical exams are part of the process. So HackerRank has a really great library of exams and challenges that you can very easily send to your candidates. This is one that the last one here is called Checkster. This is just a huge time saver that I've really enjoyed using, and it does reference checks. And so it sends out, mobile app surveys for getting feedback from referees. It's got BS detectors on IP addresses, so it's pretty foolproof, and it really saves us a lot of time. And we always use. That's it. And then when this all culminates, guys, you figure out, you have the Rubik's Cube, and now Trevor, guys, we'll get the Rubik's Cube. We won't solve them. So that's it today, guys. Thanks so much, and I'm here for questions.
So thank you so much, Jason. Does anyone have any questions?
Thanks for the presentation. How do you address the when you have sort of junior developers and stuff, and people don't want to hire them because they don't have the experience, and so because they can't so in your particular organization, how often do you find positions for brand new talent?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. So our company's sole focus is recruiting senior developers. So we, if we on the candidate side have people who come to us who are junior, we'll definitely speak with them, and if there are any relevant opportunities, we'll definitely make that introduction or connection. I think what's really powerful with what we do is in having, so the real challenge right now, and I think you touched on it, is, there's such a demand for experience. And so it's this chicken and egg. And what we're trying to do is introduce more seniors into the market from other markets. So right now, there's, I'm going to call it a finite inventory of senior developers in Alberta, but it's close. We're bringing new people in so that these companies, when they hire a senior developer, and when that person becomes comfortable, they're able to provide training, mentorship, and that company then hire juniors. So it's going to take time, but it's going to bring those juniors into the system, providing that training, and then they'll become seniors and so on and so forth. Then it will become self-fulfilling. That's our.
Hi, thanks for the question I was going to ask is, last year in the news, there was all the headlines about the great retirement and everyone just giving up their job, myself included. But there seems to be hints that might be reversing, and then people want to come back into their working life again with brand new opportunities now that that chance to leave. Are you seeing any of that in your experience?
I mean, our business is very focused on tech. We really don't work on an industry outside of it. Anecdotally, though, what I have seen is people delaying retirement, staying in the workforce longer than they anticipated due to the pandemic. Again, in our particular industry, we haven't yet seen people coming back into technology, so I'm probably not the best guy to answer that question.
We have a couple questions from online. So Becky's asking, I'm hearing that we have a talent crunch in Alberta, but we're also seeing a lack of junior jobs for our grads. In your opinion, should companies have internal training programs to upskill these juniors to more intermediate competencies, or is there a place for post-secondaries to fill that need?
Yeah, I wouldn't try to apply on what post-secondary education should do. I think that a lot of the larger companies, I think it comes down to scale, capacity, and resources.
Sorry.
And what I mean by that is a lot of the the larger companies, you know, I believe that they're making a concerted effort to seek out and hire juniors, but they have a mass of senior developers. I think for a lot of startups, and what I'm sharing is just what we hear, a lot of smaller startups, they just don't have the runway to invest in training. You know, they've got, you know, 8 months or 10 months of financial runway, so they need to hire the people to absolutely move their product forward, and they have investors breathing down their necks. So I think that there's absolutely a space for juniors to expect to find opportunities where they can receive really great training and mentorship. I think though it's at, I'll call it the mid-size or larger size companies. So a question for them might be, is there a mismatch between the type of company they want to work for and then the type of company that's hiring for you?
Awesome, thank you. We have another question from online. Ruth Ann is asking, are you finding that your recruits are concerned, with organizational culture and seeking progressive organizations with intention?
Absolutely. I think that, you know, and again, our talent pools in Latin America, but I think that maybe not surprisingly, the motivations are the same, right? They're very mission driven. They're looking to have an impact. They're wanting to work for a company whose mission resonates with them, on a team with people who they enjoy working with. So we're absolutely seeing across the board that these people are very interested in that mission-driven organization. On the career learning and development, I would say that that's pretty subjective to the individual candidate. Some people are, and we come across people who just, you know, their whole mission, personal career mission is they just want to crush code. They love it. And then others, they want to crush code and then grow into a more leadership-oriented position. So we see both.
Awesome, thank you. Are there any other questions in the room?
Just a question about diversity and inclusion. So diversity, one of the social contract items, and I'm just curious, as you're bringing tech talent in from other countries, what are you seeing as it relates?
So asking about diversity and inclusion. And so what are some of the companies doing well when it comes to inclusion and welcoming this tech talent into their organizations?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. My answer might surprise you. We often get very specific requests for female developers, in that the feedback has been there sometimes more detail oriented than some of the male developers out there, especially for female founders. They really have a priority for hiring women. So that's definitely something that I would say though, it's less about being maybe really aware of DEI, but it's more, is it DEI or DIE? It's probably DIE. Yeah, because the other one would be DIE. Anyway, so that would be part of it. But also, I mean, when we think about diversity and inclusion, I mean, anybody from Latin America is diverse. You know, they don't necessarily conform to kind of what that Canadian standard is or what that Canadian expectation is. So that's something that I think is important to remind people that there's definitely a diversity element to anyone who we work with from Latin America.
But if you're bringing them in and your environment is not inclusive, how long are they going to stay?
Oh, sure. Yeah, I mean, one of the things that we spend a lot of time with our customers working on is their culture. So a lot of the exercise that I put up on as part of the presentation is understanding, okay, what are your cultural features? We've never encountered a situation where culture was toxic or culture became an issue. And maybe it's just we're selective with who we work with. And I have to say, we work with a lot of great female-led organizations. One of our prospective customers who we admire a great deal has a really cool app that is trying to remove toxicity from social media, as an example. So we absolutely seek out companies that we feel align with our own company's values and understanding.
a question about, so my understanding is a lot of companies would go to Latin America, for example, as a cost-cutting measure compared to finding local talent. So when, for example, you're bringing in this talent from other places, how is that setting success for people that may be coming in and trying to grow into those roles when companies are continuing to look outside of our own ecosystem? Any thoughts on that?
Sorry, could you remember repeating your question?
Yeah, sorry, I was kind of all over the place. But basically, if we are encouraging companies to go outside of our ecosystem to get that senior talent that is cheaper, how are we going to continue encouraging companies to actually bring that junior talent in that's going to cost the same as the senior talent they can get for cheaper elsewhere? I think that's like an ecosystem challenge, but how can we here continue to address that to create the opportunities for the junior talent?
Yeah, no, great question. And I think I'd just like to clarify something. We're not necessarily advocating that all companies are looking outside of Canada or to hire. So I think that that's important to stress. What our company provides is an alternative to companies who can't find what they need locally. If you're following wage inflation, and we're hearing inflation is increasingly a huge issue around the world. Over the past year, we've seen a senior software developer salary locally almost double. And so that can be very, very difficult for companies to adjust to. And what that means then, it absolutely slows their pace of growth, kills their product. So then a lot of companies need to look outside to get the skill level that they're looking at. Currently, I mean, with 4,300 unfilled jobs, there's a mismatch in the labor market. I don't think anybody can dispute that. So I believe that there's enough room for a company like ours, local recruiting agencies, companies to hire without recruiting agencies to try to help solve the labor issue. We are one solution of many for companies to be able to access, to help to exist. And one of our Edmonton, and I'll just share the story as a reference, they had a developer that was getting paid $110,000 a year. And Google knocked on that person's door and said, what will it take to attract you? And she said, double. And so she left working for Google remotely to earn double while still living in Edmonton. So it's not just that, people are looking from outside of Canada to come to Canada. Canadians are looking at opportunities outside this country. Another comment on a really cool part of our business model is relocating talent into the local ecosystem. So being able to bring in people and their families into Calgary to live permanently, to buy a house, to buy a car, to pay taxes, to be mentors, to be knowledge leaders within a company. So I think what we're doing is we believe in it very passionately, and we believe that it is contributing to the long-term solution of the talent issue.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jason. I'm going to post the computer.
I want to say a big thank you to Jason for being here today and sharing about Jobs Alberta. A big thank you to Lisa as well. Thank you to SAIT for having us and hosting us today. And thank you for lunch as well. It was fun doing lunch without lunch with lunch. So a big round of applause. We head into networking and meeting new people. We're going to go into some community announcements. So I'm going to start us off. We have a queer tech innovation meetup tomorrow. So Rainforest Alberta, Tide from 8-Bit Cortex, and Audra from Calgary. We're hosting a queer meetup at Cold Garden tomorrow night from 5 to 7. Whether you're part of the community or an ally, come out, have a beer, meet some queer people in tech. That's tomorrow, and I believe Al has an announcement. Maybe I'll invite you up here. If anyone else has an announcement, please come up here. You get to be in front of the stage for a little bit.
Hi, everyone. Most of you know me, I do the podcast for Jobs Alberta, so please listen to the podcast, that's not my announcement. I also work on a part-time.
We can't hear Al.
So we are on, we're doing intake right now for cohort 9 of the Inception U program. So if anyone's interested in pivoting your career into tech and becoming a full stack software developer, it starts on September 12th. It's a 6-month program, Monday to Friday, 9 to 4. And we're doing intake now. So just go to our website, inceptionu.com, and hit apply. We also have an open house in person at the Inception U space, which you can check out the space and all the people on July 14th. It's going to be posted on our website soon. And finally, we have a life path workshop, and I would highly recommend this to everybody. Life path is amazing. It's an extensive introspective journey and investment into your personal fulfillment and career satisfaction. That's on Wednesday, July 6th from 5:30 to 6:30. And again, it will be, I think it is posted on our website, but I highly recommend that for everybody. Life path is incredible. And check out the podcast.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Al.
Here, I'll put it over here.
Okay, cool. Hi.
Hi, Tony Grimes. Just want to announce Pixels and Pints is happening on Tuesday, July 5th, so next week. And if you're not familiar, it's basically just mingling. So we start at 5, we go until whenever they kick us out. There's announcements at 7, call for talent. So if you're hiring, it's just basically we pass the mic around the room, kind of like a little face-to-face job board. And if caffeine is more your thing, Calgary UX is having a little coffee meetup tomorrow night at Gravity, just by Eau Claire, at 6 p.m. It's, I think, kind of the same thing. It's community building night, so I think it's just mostly mingling, just hanging out over coffee.
Very cool. Thank you so much. Thank you. I know there's announcements online. I will share those in Slack. I'll also share the announcements that are happening here. Also, virtual world, meet real world. So thank you so much again to Jason and Lisa and to Jasmine and David for having us in SAIT. I also want to say thank you to everyone in person and online for dealing with me and trying to figure out the whole virtual hybrid thing. I appreciate it. Now we're going to go into networking, and there's some coffee cards on your table. So if you're interested, I think you can write your name and like what you want to receive from someone else and what you're hoping to give back. So feel free to utilize those and go and meet 3 people, 2 people you've never met before. Can talk about what we learned today from Jason, or just what you're hoping to get out of today. I also threw some social contract stickers on there. So if the social contract resonates with you, if you haven't signed it, please feel free to sign it. If you have signed it, grab some stickers, grab some swag. And thank you again for being here. And let's, if you haven't gotten lunch, get lunch, and let's network, have some fun. Thank you so much, everyone.
Awesome. Okay, virtual world. Let's head into some breakouts. Thanks, Amber. Good job. Tricky to figure out these new places, but we did want to rotate the live in person around town a little bit to have some new perspective. So hi everybody, thanks for bearing with us. I heard from some of you that you could hear and from others you couldn't, so I kind of just made that decision to keep going with the presentation for those who could and wanted to hear more. So we'll head into breakouts, and we'll probably have time to spin the wheel probably 2-3 times here. So if you're new, this is where you have the opportunity to get to know others in the virtual room. And so please feel free to offer whatever you have to give to the community, or whatever burning questions you have about whatever you're building or working on in your world to those in the rooms. The network effect of this exercise is really incredible. So use it to your advantage. I'll open the rooms. Feel free to click join your breakout, and we'll see you back here in about 5-7 minutes.